And I'm serious. I think Vanderlei might come. He's getting stitched up right now. What a night. Let me go through the bonuses first. Fight of the night. Well, I'll start at knockout of the night. Michael McDonald gets the knockout of the night. Uriah Faber gets the submission of the night. Fight of the night, I had to do it. Shogun Henderson and Kung Lee Vanderlei, they all get it. $70,000 for everybody. Who's first? Nobody? We can leave?
Dana, obviously a lot of superlatives being thrown around already. Can you put the main event fight into context? I mean, people are saying greatest fight in history.
Yeah, I think it's, listen, if you go all the way, every time you see a fight and you come off a fight like that, you're going crazy. And that's, without a doubt, one of the top 3 best fights ever in MMA. Without a doubt. I mean, just I have so much respect for both of those guys to dig down that deep in 5-round fight and just, that was like our Ali Frazier 3. You know what I mean? It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was incredible.
Were you scoring the fight at all as you went along?
We've gone through the scoring. We were just talking about it. This is one of those tough fights. You can say, in the first round, they both knocked each other down. You give Henderson the first 3 rounds. You give Shogun 4, and you give Shogun 10-8. In the last round, for a dominant round, it's a draw. It's one of those tough ones. That's how I scored it. I scored it a draw. Yeah.
What do you think's next?
But who the hell am I?
Henderson, obviously the businessman that he is, even though he's on his way to the hospital, already tweeted asking for a title shot.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. What do you think is? I mean, obviously I know you don't like to play matchmaker, but when something that special happens, what do you think?
Yes. I mean, that guy could fight at 85 or 205 for the title, no doubt about it. Yes, I don't disagree.
And I guess last question on it, obviously a war. I mean, those guys were bloodied and hurt and battled. Is that the kind of fight that you'd like to see on Fox? I mean, people were complaining last week we didn't get enough. Is this too much for Fox?
I said it before and I'll say it again. If I could go back in a time machine and do the Fox fight over again, it would be done the same exact way. Exactly the same way. The hardcores can bitch about that fight. I could care less what they think about that fight. I don't care. People are like, oh, you don't care what your fans think? No, I do not care what you think. That fight had to go the way that it went because none of you guys understand what goes on behind the scenes. If that fight that happened tonight went on Fox for the first time ever, let me tell you what, I would not be having a good time these last 5 or 6 days. Believe me. We got to ease our way. We live in this bubble, gang. We live in this bubble that the rest of the world doesn't live in and doesn't understand, and we're still in the education process and educating the masses about what the sport is and what it's all about. Those of us who are in this room and people who have been watching this for a long time are blown away and just incredibly appreciate what those two did tonight in there, and you can understand what they went through and what's going on, and the rest of the world will go, oh my God, what was that? Congratulations. All right, man. You just don't understand. You guys might. I'm not talking to you. Those of you that think that we didn't do the right thing on the first Fox fight do not understand what it takes to build this sport and to be on national television. So shut up again.
Dana, you said that Hendo could be an option at 185 or 205 for a title fight. If I hear you correctly, he could possibly drop down to 185 and fight for a title fight?
Yeah. I mean, he could do either. He could go at 85 or 205. Yes.
You could put Anderson Silva, John Jones, and Dan Henderson in the ring at the same time.
I don't know about that, but.
Faber, this question's for you. Was that the greatest performance of your career so far? Or how do you put that performance into perspective? How impressive you were against such a tough opponent?
I don't know about that. I'll have to go back and watch it. I don't really remember the fights too well. It was a good fight for me. I feel like, I've been at this for a while now. It was 8 years, my 8-year anniversary not too long ago. And when I first started fighting, I was fighting southpaw and hadn't really trained in all the disciplines like I should have, so, or I couldn't have. I was in college and wrestling and stuff. So, I mean, I feel like I can box with boxers and kickbox with kickboxers and, submit black belts and everything under the sun. And I'm getting more and more comfortable. And, I never had an opportunity to fight at 135 pounds when I first started in this sport because there was no weight class for me. So I feel like I'm really found a home, and I'm excited to get in there and fight for the belt. You know, the belt's one thing. The other thing is people, you know, have the idea that Dominic's the best guy out there, and like he's not tougher than I am. I know that, and I don't feel like he proved that he was. And I can't wait to get in there and fight again for the belt and show everyone who the man is.
And Uriah looked awesome tonight. No broken hands, no injuries that I'm aware of.
Nope, just my big chin got cut, but this thing's always in the way.
Dana, could you, over here, Dana. Dana, over here.
Over there, yep.
Could you talk about, the 5 rounds for the main event? I mean, that's probably, what you envisioned when you decided to make non-title fights 5 rounds,
Yeah,
correct?
I was talking about that during the fights. Imagine if this was 3 rounds, but then there's the argument, what if it's a boring fight and it goes 5 rounds? The reality is this last year has been an incredible year for fights. I mean, realistically, if you think about it, we've had 10 main events fall out. One guy fall out of a main event. And we get a replacement in there, and this year's fights have just been incredible. We've been on a roll. Even going back to the Fox fight, Junior Dos Santos knocked out Cain Velasquez in the first round, a guy who's never been beat, never been knocked out, and has won his last 8 of his 9 last fights by knockout. What the hell is wrong with that? Nothing. Yes, I understand it was a little content heavy, 60 minutes of yapping and 60 seconds of fighting, but we'll figure this thing out. It was our first fight.
And a question for Vanderlei. Vanderlei, there's so much talk going into this fight about your impending retirement, and should you call it quits, how satisfying is it to silence some of those critics?
Me, you mean?
Him.
No, it's wonderful. No, I think I can't talk after my last fight. Before that, it's embarrassing for me. I lost like that, but it happened. No, and in that job, you need to kill one lion one day. This is what this guy do every weekend. Every weekend, this guy make the one event better to the other. It's a great honor for me. Great have this opportunity. Thanks so much for believing in me, and it's awesome. I have my fans with me. The guys help me a lot, and it's great. It's a great moment for me.
And just to clarify, Wanderlei Silva is a guy whom we in this company respect and care about very much. He is a very good person. He's been a great asset to us. In no way, shape, or form. Listen, I said it about Chuck Liddell, and I'll say it about Wanderlei Silva too. When guys start getting, consecutive knockouts, and you keep them in there fighting, can we keep Wanderlei Silva rolling and keep him fighting? Of course we can. But I don't want to make $1 of that kind of money. I want to make sure that Wanderlei Silva is healthy. He's got a great business in Las Vegas. He's got a gym and a school, and we've seen it in boxing. And I'm just saying, I don't care what anybody says or what anybody thinks. We're not going to see it here in the UFC. When it's time, I will sit down with these guys and we'll talk about options and we'll go from there. And we're not the type of promoters that say, all right, Wanderlei, it's over. See you later. Get out of here and good luck to you. Wanderlei Silva has been a very good guy to all of us in this company. We respect him, we care about him, and we don't want to see him stick around inside the octagon too long. And that's why I talk about guys hanging it up when I think it's time. He went in tonight. He won, and it was an incredible fight. He won fight of the night, by the way.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you know what I'm saying.
Eduardo from Tatame Magazine. I ask in Portuguese for Wanderlei. Wanderlei, como é que foi essa vitória para você depois de tanto tempo? Passou por cirurgia e tudo mais, veio aquela derrota. Como é que foi a emoção de voltar a vencer? E qual o seu próximo passo? Você pensa em de repente fazer uma luta em 2012 no Brasil?
Então, foi uma luta muito importante para mim, Eu treinei bastante e os meus próximos passos meu próximo passo eu vou transformar a minha academia em uma academia não profit agora, para poder dar aula para as pessoas, para algumas pessoas carentes de graça, Eu vou fazer uma coisa carente lá. Esse é o meu próximo passo. Agora, com relação à luta, depende do patrão.
We'll have to let that one go, guys, because I don't know if there's a translator in here.
Right here, down in front. It's Karen. I have a couple of questions. One for Martin. Can you talk about hey, Congrats. You're stitched up, obviously. Can you talk about the headbutt? What happened and how much that impacted your fight?
It didn't really impact me too much, I cut fairly easy, so it sucks, but just got a Vaseline up, and this eye over here, I've been cut so many times I can't even count it, but I got to stitch up pretty good afterwards, and I think I didn't perform, like I sometimes I need to get punched a little bit, eat too many punches and taste my blood a little bit. I came out the second round, I felt good, but the first round I was not sticking to the game plan. I was going in there sloppy and slow and swinging punches with him, and that was not what we wanted to do, But second round I felt good. I came out sharper, and I thought I was about to get screwed again by the judges, because I feel I definitely won that fight, and the last one too. But I was happy when my way. I'm glad I finally got a win in, so I'm happy.
It's great.
And actually, on the judges' scorecard on that fight, they made a mistake. It was supposed to be 30-27 for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if you guys knew that.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
And secondly, for you, Vanderlei, you told us before that you thought Kung had the best kicks in MMA. So now that you've fought him and you've felt them, what did you think while you actually had to take them?
No, the tough kicks hurt. The strong kicks. No, he's a really good fighter. No, I think we give a good show for the fans over here. And this is important. We need to make the fans happy.
And it definitely seemed like you, and maybe I'm projecting, but it seemed like you were conscious of sticking to a game plan in this fight. Is that the case?
Yeah, my coach gave directions to me for going to going to attack more in the second round, and that's the plan.
Dane, over here to your left. Just wondering, you talk to fans on a regular basis. Were you having a hard time at all selling this card, just with the massive that Fox being 1 week before? You got a busy calendar to kind of close out the year. Were you having a difficult time kind of trying to get people excited for this one?
Yeah, well, it's been a weird end of this year because we're in this transition period right now, jumping from the old network to the new network, and we'd be doing things a lot different if we still had this long-term deal over there. So yeah, we're in a bit of a weird transition period right now. It'll all smooth out once we get on Fox, and in January. We're on Fox, and we'll get the whole ball rolling again. But I knew this was going to happen.
And then talking about Dan potentially fighting for 2 different belts, talking to him earlier in the week, it really sounded like he is not keen on cutting the weight. He said he would do it to fight Faber and Silva. Obviously, that's a fight that means something to him. But as his promoter, and I mean, last time he fought at 185, some people said he didn't quite look like the Dan Henderson. Do you have a preference between?
I don't. I'm just saying, the guy's so talented that he can do both. He can fight in both weight classes. So I'm sure it would be a matter of timing. I'm sure with him it would be whichever one he could get first.
How will that decision be made? Will that be Dan's decision totally, or will you guys kind of sit down and talk about?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't want to fight at 85, I'm not going to tell him you have to fight at 85. But I know him. If that fight's available, he'll probably take it.
And then a quick one for Chris. Congratulations on your win, Chris. I hate to talk about any kind of controversy after a solid win like that, but a lot of people were talking about if the referee was late to stop the fight or not, and just talk about, did you feel Lawler go out, and do you blame the referee, or was it an awkward angle for him to kind of see the finish?
Yeah, I'm definitely not blaming him. I can't really see what he was watching, but I definitely felt him go out, and I was telling him that he was out. But as a ref, he can't believe what I'm saying because I could just try to get a cheap victory with that. But he was definitely out for a little long, so. But I'm glad that he's all right.
I blame him.
Yeah.
I do. You're a referee. You should know when somebody's out. Get your ass in there and stop the fight. Same thing with the arm bar last night in Las Vegas. You're standing way the hell over there when she's trying to put an arm bar on. You get in there and you stop the fight as soon as you can so that these guys don't get hurt. I blame them, 100%.
Stefan over here. Congrats on your win tonight. How does it feel to win over here, sir?
Where's here?
To your right. Yeah.
Okay.
How does it feel to win for the first time, for 3 times in a row, for the first time in 5 years? And I know you apologized after your performance tonight. Do you think maybe the people were booing more because you beat the hometown boy more than your performance? Because I thought you looked really dominant and really good out there tonight.
Well, thank you, and I'm really glad I didn't go for the fight of the night type of fight, because there's no way I was going to top those last two fights. They were amazing. What was the question again? Oh yeah, to win 3 in a row. Yeah, it feels good. And the fight before that, I don't consider it was a loss. You know, it was that cut, headbutt, and I thought I fought a good fight that fight. So yeah, I kind of found my rhythm again, and feels good.
For Dana over here to your left. So I'm just a little confused about where Hendo sits here, because Chael is obviously getting the next title shot at 185. He's not going to wait for that. So is he the #1 contender at 205, or does he fight Rashad Evans now to determine?
No, that's what I said. It's going to, you know, there's guys already lined up to fight for those titles, and whichever one's available first. Listen, you guys know anything can happen. I lost 10 main events this year. Anything can happen, so we'll see.
Is Faber the #1 contender at 135?
Yeah, he's it. Yep.
And finally, you touched on the Weidman ending, but what did you think about the stoppage in the Kung Lee fight?
I thought it was a good stoppage. If you saw Kung Lee right now, you wouldn't disagree. I mean, it was a good stoppage. You know what? There's always going to be that argument. You know, oh, that could have gone a few more punches. I like the argument. It was stopped too early than too late. Kung Lee is busted up right now.
And then in the main event, in the 3rd round, if Lee was in trouble and out, then it looked like Shogun was out in the 3rd round. Josh Rosenthal let it continue. Did you think that was the right call at the time?
You know, that's the judges make that call. I mean, the referees make that call when they're in there. Those guys are closest to it. You know, I disagree with them most of the time, and some of the time I agree with them. But that's up to them. I have no idea. It went 5 rounds. You know, it went 5 rounds. Shogun was in that fight and then dominated the last round. So I thought Shogun was out the 1st round. I didn't think that thing was going to make it out of the 1st. It went 5 with him on top and having the most dominant round of the entire fight. Would you disagree? Okay. I just don't want you to be confused when I get done talking here again.
Wow. I was just saying, while watching it in the 3rd round, I thought if Kung Lee was out in that fight, then he should have stopped it. Obviously, it was the right call to make, so that's why I thought Josh did make the right call. But I wanted to know, while you were watching it, were you thinking this fight is going a little longer than it should?
No. I mean, I thought in the 1st round it could have been ended. Then Shogun came back and actually dropped Dan in the 1st round. So it was a war, man. I thought either one of those guys could have. By the end of the 2nd round, Dan Henderson was breathing so hard, I thought he was done. And they went 5 rounds, man. It was incredible. It's just one of those fights that, who knows? They both looked like they were out of it at any time, and it went the distance.
Not confused anymore.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
clearing it up.
Good.
All right, here. Dana, first question for you. What did you think of Kung's performance? I mean, first fight in the UFC, hometown crowd.
Yeah.
Although surprisingly, Vanderlei got a much bigger reaction.
People love Vanderlei, man.
Yeah, hard to argue that. But what did you think of Kung's performance?
It was awesome. I thought I gave them fight of the night too. Both guys won fight of the night. I don't know if I've ever done that. I don't know if I've ever given 2 fights fight of the night. I did? All right. Well, I didn't know. You just clarified it for me. I've done it before, but tonight was it was an awesome fight. You know, you think of the thing that's so incredible too is Kung's inactivity. You know what I mean? He's been inactive and doing movies, and to come in and fight the war that he fought tonight was incredible. I have a lot of respect for him.
And then Vanderlei, with Dana's comments about, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but kind of this is your last chance, or you got to make a good showing, basically. Did that affect your preparation and your strategy for this fight? Did that enter into your mind at all as you were getting ready for this fight?
If anybody speaks Portuguese, could you explain to him what he just said so he understands? So you do? Thank you. Go ahead, give her the mic.
Oh, I understand.
Did you understand?
Traduzindo.
Ele só perguntou se, com relação à preparação, né, o fato do Dana ter dito para você que que essa poderia ser a sua última luta, se isso mudou alguma coisa na sua estratégia enquanto você estava se preparando para essa
No,
luta.
I think since I have that performance, like my last performance, is done, because I know that sport is no more space for falls. No, we fight in the best event in the world. I know the responsibility for to be here. Have space just for the best guys in the world over here. No more space for falls. I know that, and we work with the pressure. This is normal, and we need to be there and make the job.
And Dana, did you get gate in attendance yet?
Oh, I didn't do that? I'm sorry. 13,173 and 1.268.
Stefan, please. Stefan, right here. You told me Thursday you wanted to use all the tools in your arsenal. Do you feel like you did that tonight?
Well, I started off doing that. The first round, we were slugging it, and then sometimes when you find something you could exploit, you want to stick with it. And I, got side control, and I felt really dominant there. So why not stick to what's working?
Is that why you kind of abandoned that fight of the night mentality after the first round? Because it looked like it was going that kind of direction.
It was. I was really thinking I could submit him on the ground. He's defending well. But, yeah, and then after the second, I'm like, man, I know I got a big lead going. Like, I'd feel like an idiot if I blew it by banging it out. So I just stick to what was working.
And then, this was your first one back in 10 months or so, 11 months. How soon do you want to get back in there this time around, and what kind of pace do you want to have going
Well,
forward?
they said I'm suspended for 1 week, so I was hoping to fight tomorrow, but it looks like it's got to be at least a week.
Chicago card, perhaps?
Yeah.
Dana, here. It's Evelyn. I'm from
Hi.
Brazil. Some newspapers in Brazil today, they are saying that UFC is going to São Paulo in June, and with Anderson Silva in the card. I just want to know if you can confirm this, if it's true.
Who said that?
Some newspapers, actually Estado de São Paulo is a newspaper in Brazil.
How's this stuff get out? I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. Might be. What happens is you guys get all this sneaky information, and then I say stuff at the press conference, and my whole crew goes, "What are you doing? We didn't say anything yet." I don't know. I don't know if we're going to Sao Paulo in June, and if Anderson Silva is headlining the card. I have no clue. That would be awesome, though. And thank you for translating for us. I appreciate it.
Uriah, congratulations. Congratulations on your performance. I wanted to ask you, though, if you got a chance to watch the main event. I know you were reflective on Dan Henderson earlier this week, and just wondering what you thought of his performance tonight.
Yeah, I loved it, man. I'm a huge fan. I've been watching those guys forever, and Dan, like I said, is just a savage, and Vanderlei and Kung and all these guys. So, it was fun. I just think about Dan's sense of humor, and it's real, he's not real explosive dude in any shape or form except for when he's fighting, and just seeing him drop his hands after one of the rounds was cracking me up. These guys are just warriors, so I enjoyed it. It was fun.
And then kind of the same question for Vanderlei, please. Vanderlei, you have history with both of these guys. How was that to watch tonight?
Do you know what he said?
No.
I don't either. What'd you say again?
I was just asking Vanderlei for his thoughts on the main event.
What did you think of Dan Henderson versus Shogun?
Great match. I think it's an unbelievable fight. I like it.
And then just one last question, please, for Martin. Martin, even if it sounds like it was a mistake now, what's going through your head when you hear the first scorecard is in favor of Rick?
Oh, I just thought not again, but I felt confident I won that fight, but I felt confident I won my last fight too. So, like I said before, I thought I was about to get screwed again, but I'm happy I got the win. So.
Martin, it looked like you shook your hand at the end of the second round, and you're icing it right now. Did you break your hand, or what's the situation?
No, I don't think I broke it. My last fight, I thought I broke it. I've had surgery in both my hands before, so I tried it before. But my last fight, I just I broke a tendon off or something like that on my knuckle. But this time, I think it's just a little swelling. I still got some titanium in there to keep it in place. So I think it's good. Just need a little more ice. It'll be fine.
In a fight like that, it can't be. You can't be whining about that, especially when guys really are getting seriously robbed out there. But I just don't feel like he's a better fighter than I am, and I don't think that he proved it during that fight. I feel like he tried to take me down like 11 or 12 times, and I don't know if he's getting points for that. He didn't. I mean, he took me down for like maybe 10 seconds, one of them, and I dropped him 3 times with my hand on his chin, and he hit the ground. In boxing, that's a knockdown. And in wrestling, he wouldn't have got takedowns. And I punched him every time, splitting from there. And you know, I think I did some good things, and I guess you gotta do more, have more output when it goes to decision. But I don't like to think about going to decisions. I'm gonna go in there and try to finish the guy. You know, this is for the UFC title, but it's for a personal vendetta. You know, we're 1-1 now. There's a trilogy, and it's to find out who's the man for the rest of our lives. And that's important to me.
For Dana again over here, you said you had a plan for Faber and Cruz, and I was just wondering, is there a chance?
I won't tell you.
No, I was just wondering if there was a chance that could be the Fox main event, the second one.
No.
No.
Won't be.
Okay. And also for Vanderlei, to your left, what was it like fighting a guy like Kung? You know, Joe Rogan was mentioning how he's so unconventional with his kicks, and when he had you in trouble, he was throwing kicks that a lot of guys wouldn't throw in that situation. What was it like having to deal with that, especially when he had you rocked a little bit?
I train a lot I study his game a lot, and my coach, we make a good game plan for that fight, and thanks God we're going just the right way.
For Uriah, what as far as, did you do anything different for this fight than the Cruz fight? Because it seemed like that your whole game was a little bit sharper. Was it just a different opponent, or did you feel like a little bit quicker this time?
I feel better every time making the weight. I have an idea of what my weight gets to right after, after I rehydrate and all that kind of stuff. So I can just stay about that weight during my training camp instead of worrying about dropping down and this and that. But I was actually sick for like 4 weeks for this camp. I was traveling all over. I did like the UFC fan thing, and I was doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and I had like a cold that I couldn't kick. So I just trained through it. I only took like 3 days where I had to stay home in bed, and didn't worry about my weight. And I think it's really an accumulation of everything coming together for me. It's been 8 years now in this sport, and I've been wrestling since I was in the 8th grade. But a lot of this boxing and kickboxing and stuff is really starting to come natural for me, and I've got every advantage now. I was always giving up about 10 plus pounds in the 45-pound weight class. So I'm gonna get better and better. I live a healthy lifestyle. I feel like I'm just getting to my peak. Even though Ariel picked against me. Come on, bro, study up.
He makes a lot of wrong decisions.
Yeah, he was way off.
Uriah, I wanted to follow up on, you talk about your clean diet. I know you have a pretty holistic mentality when it comes to life, and especially with nutrition. We saw you drinking a coconut water, chugging it down after the weigh-ins. Can you talk a little bit more about your diet in terms of how it integrates with your training, if you can?
My hippie parents gave me an unfair advantage from the womb. My mom was like drinking wheatgrass, carrot, garlic, beet juice, and stuff like that. So I crave really healthy foods, and it's just been a part of my lifestyle. Part of the reason that I feel great at the age that I am and have a lot of years left in me. And I don't take any supplements. I don't do anything except for eat good and train hard and have fun. I think that's the best part about it, is just having a good attitude, And you see that with a lot of the guys that make it in this sport are like pretty calm nerve dudes. If you hang out with Vanderlei or Dan Henderson or Randy Couture, they're mellow dudes, and it's all just a lifestyle for me, man. I love doing what I do, and healthy diet is, they say, good health is true wealth. That's what my mom says.
Dana, one for you. To follow up on something you said earlier about how the sport, you're still going through an education process. Are there any granular things that you could share in terms of how the sport needs to give more education to like fans, mainstream fans, non-fans that could come into the sport?
Well, the best way that I can describe it to you is now that we've got this new platform, Fox, going on Big Fox and FX. I mean, the amount of viewers that are going to watch. I mean, This season of The Ultimate Fighter with no promotion whatsoever is pulling between 1.5 and 1.8 million viewers. We'll more than double that when we go on to FX. I mean, we'll probably have over 3 million viewers on FX watching The Ultimate Fighter. And then you saw the numbers on Fox, and the list goes on and on. The work that we do in the next 2 years is more important than the work we've done in the last 10. So we're ready. It's going to be there's going to be a lot more work than we've done in the last 10 too. Every time I say I don't know how we could possibly do more work than we do now, next year's schedule is looking ugly, man. It's especially for me. I mean, 26 weeks alone of live television. 26 weeks of live television. Every Friday night ends in a live fight, and then I have to jump on a plane and fly to wherever we are Saturday, and then start all over again on Monday. So it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm ready.
Let me and Dom coach The Ultimate Fighter. We need some fans.
There you go.
Dana, over here to your left, Danny Acosta for thewolvers.com. This question's for Uriah as well. Trilogies are so rare in this sport. Is Cruz Faber 3 the last piece of the puzzle in terms of establishing the lower weights as a marquee division?
Say that again?
Is Cruz Faber 3 the last piece of the puzzle in establishing the lower weights as marquee divisions?
No, listen, everybody who's, again, people who are in the sport know how good the lighter weight divisions are. I mean, the WEC, I don't know if there was ever a bad fight in the WEC. I mean, these lighter weight guys, they go for it. They always give 100%. Their fights are always exciting. I think everybody knows that. I mean, there was a time when we had BJ Penn and Jens Pulver fight for the 155-pound title as the main event, and everybody told me, these guys can't carry an event. They're 155 pounds. BJ Penn's one of the biggest legends in the sport. It's all bullshit. These guys are already there. They're already at that level. We just got to get them out there, showcase them, and promote them, and get people to know who they are. And believe me, we'll have the platform to do that next year. And plenty of fights to do it, too.
Question for Dana. Here.
Yep.
On the dais to your right, you have Vanderlei Silva, legendary middleweight. To your left, you've got an up-and-coming guy, Chris Weidman. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what you've saw from him today and what you've seen from him in his 3 fights.
Oh, he looks great, man. He's very talented, and tonight was a huge performance for him. That's the other thing too. We've been talking about this card, you know, the main card, all the fights tonight, the prelims, everything. This was a great card from top to bottom, and yes, it was an awesome night for him. Take a couple more questions. Did I see it? Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that all the fans were bitching about. That was going to be on Spike TV. Okay.
What did you think? I mean, he looked to me like, you know, he's at 20 years old. He looked to me like he's a future champion.
Yeah. No, he looked awesome, man. Yeah, I love when, you know, when I talk to these guys and there's always some kind of negative tone toward the card. I always tell these guys, go out there and right up there, you know. And he did it tonight. He came over to me after the fight too. I said, good for you, kid, man. That's the way to do it. So, yeah, really happy for him. He looked great tonight. One more? No more? That it? Thank you guys very much. We appreciate your support.
Thank you.